introduce Lily Smith with No Sweat Scheduling, and it's been a real pleasure coaching you.
Show of hands, who here in their life has had an issue with their healthcare or their coverage? It's kind of a no-brainer question. The American healthcare system is broken. And I don't really need to explain that to everyone in this room, but we've all probably experienced a frustrating conversation talking to a pharmacist about an unexpected cost with your prescription. Or maybe trying to get a referral so you can go and see a specialist. Or even, for example, just trying to find a primary care physician. It's really tough to find someone who's even taking your insurance or accepting new patients. But the good news is, and I know this is the first time someone has ever said good news in American healthcare system in one sentence, you don't have to do it alone. I started this company because I saw a need to be able to proactively schedule people's healthcare appointments for them, to get their prescriptions filled and ordered on time, but then also talk to their insurance prior to these appointments and make sure that they have an idea of really what it's going to cost to eliminate surprise bills. So I'm going to talk to you about why I do this, a little bit about how I do this, and then 3 groups that I want to target, and that maybe this group here would be able to help me get a little bit more knowledge on, or even give me some advice about reaching out to those groups. I started this company almost accidentally about 10 years ago. My spouse is a type 1 diabetic. For people who are not familiar with type 1 diabetes, that means that their bodies do not produce insulin, and no amount of healthy eating or healthy lifestyle can fix a dead pancreas. So they have to take multiple shots of various insulins every day to stay alive. And if you have not dealt with diabetes or any other chronic illness, those people are absolute cash cows for the pharmaceutical industry. And when my spouse and I got together, I began to see firsthand this almost like cobweb of information and phone calls that they would have to do between their endocrinologist, primary care physician, pharmacy, insurance. Oh, wait a minute, prescriptions aren't covered by that insurance, it's covered by this different insurance over here. And it just, I could see the overwhelming frustration that regular people have to deal with. Fortunately, I have worked in sales for a significant portion of my life, actually my entire career. And I was able to work from home, which was fantastic because my spouse was not able to work from home. That means I was able to manage these phone calls during regular working hours when most people are actually on the clock and working. But what I found out from doing that was kind of unexpected was that being a third party, sort of a neutral third party, really helped lower the emotion in those conversations. When you're taking a medication that you've taken for many years, but suddenly it triples in cost, or you can't order it, it's not at the pharmacy anymore because they're having trouble getting it, it's enraging. It's enraging. How is something that is supposed to work for us working so almost actively against us, it seems? And when I started having those phone calls, I realized if I was able to get way more information from the people on the other line with insurance or people with the pharmacy, because it was not me versus them. It became us trying to find a solution to a problem, but then also having a clear understanding of what that is so that I can explain it to someone else on their behalf. And this is something that I had thought about for many years starting this company. I was doing it for free, might as well get paid for it, right? But it wasn't until after bouncing around from a couple of different states, moving to New Mexico and being thrust into the New Mexico healthcare system, it became glaringly obvious that this is a service that regular people need. The fact that I could stay home and make those calls was a luxury for my spouse. Not everyone has someone who can stay at home and help them navigate the system for them, but it should be an option for everyone to take advantage of if they'd like. I have worked with regular people, young college students who are just scared and have a healthcare crisis and don't know how to manage, young professionals who are just too busy, and business owners who just don't give a rip and want someone else to do this for them. But I would really like to target 3 different groups, and this is where I could possibly need your help. I am looking to target people who use the VA and need help there, people who are 65 and plus, and then independent and assisted living homes, those actually organizations as a whole. Veterans Affairs. This is a notoriously overwhelming department of the government, and it is something that is, even though it is relatively similar in what it is in various locations, depending on the location, there's different services that are provided and offered for veterans and service members and their families. I would like to focus on this group because in August, there's projected to be mass layoffs at the VA, and that is going to make scheduling appointments and working with the VA even more frustrating and rage-inducing for people who deserve and earned this care. And that is a specific group that I would really like to be able to help with this service. Well, the next is going to be 65 plus individuals. The reason I want to work with this group of people is because I've actually already seen a lot of success in talking to them and getting them as clients. It makes sense for them. They don't want to deal with this. And a lot of the times their children are the ones that are dealing with this for them. And their children probably are still working and probably have their own children to schedule healthcare appointments for. They also have ongoing needs. These are people who I maybe could work with initially for one specific issue, but maybe they need ongoing help later on. These are people that, especially living in independent and assisted living facilities, they're going to be able to talk about my business via word of mouth. And then lastly, I really want to focus on the facilities themselves, getting in at the ground level at independent and assisted living facilities. One of the reasons is when I talk to people who are living there, they are super on board. They love this idea. They want me to do it for them right then, right there. But a lot of times they're not the decision maker. They talk to their children about it. And would all of you suddenly get a little red flag if your parent came to you and said, oh, this lady's going to help me with my healthcare and I just need to give her information from my Medicare card? That seems a little weird. So what I would like to do is by working with these independent and assisted living facilities on the ground floor as a service that they can offer for their residents, it helps build more trust automatically and helps kind of take away some of those initial questions. By working with individuals, business owners, families, I've already done great work for the community, but I am looking to really target those groups. And yes, the American healthcare system, it is broken and I can't fix it. But if I can help regular people just navigate it a little bit better, then I'm going to consider my work a success.
All right, thank you. We're now open for questions and discussions. So form a line over here. Tell us who you are and what your business is, and then ask a concise question, because I'm sure we're going to have a lot today.
Hi, so I'm Kenneth Bingham. You guys, several of you know me because I do cybersecurity work and I presented a month or so ago. Anyway, I wanted to offer one other group of people that you might consider trying to get in with, and that is the developmentally disabled. My brother has Down syndrome and he lives in a group home. And I know that at least some of them don't have somebody like me who, I just called sometime earlier this week and to set up a podiatry appointment for him. And they said, how about November? Yeah, it's like, whatever's, his problem is more acute than that. He's probably going to be well by November. I mean, last time we got him into podiatry, that was what the case is, you know, he was fine by the time we got him in.
Yeah. Gosh. That's a really good point. That is something that I've talked with people who are parents of people who are disabled. And that has certainly come up. And that's something I would like to be able to offer, is to be able to help in that regard. The one person, I'm actually talking with someone right now, but it's a little bit more of after they pass away, if I could stand in as that role. And there is a lot of kind of legal things that I need to sort out there. So that's something I think I could work with people if they have another caregiver that's currently living that can kind of help communicate. But for the future, I'm actually having a meeting with them in June, so I have to figure out the answer to that question relatively quickly. But thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and guardianship, I'm not suggesting that you become a guardian, although that's a completely different possible option. But
Yes.
I was thinking about just, even helping the people who are, when they're alive and they're taking care of somebody, they could probably use the help too. I know I spend surprising amount of time on the phone for him.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I could see that being a huge need. Thank you so much.
Hey, Lily, nice job, Brian.
Thank you.
This is Alex and Max. So when I've been in the similar position where I'm really targeting a group of people, I really like to go after the person that kind of controls that intake process. So as an example, in my business, we've worked with probably about 10 different marketing companies. And then they just have these different projects. They're like, hey, this needs custom code, this needs custom code, this needs custom code. And then they just have this funnel of stuff that they just throw to me. And it's great because I just have a standard contract with them. And then, we white label it if they want to sell it under their service. So it's like, who are those people in like the VA? And you probably can't pay them because that would be like corrupt. But you could get in with them and you could say, hey, if this guy needs help navigating, I'm here. Or like, the old person's home, who's in charge of like the scheduling. Like if you can find those like gatekeepers or control people, I think that would be good. And like John here could like talk to you more about like your expected customer profit and how much you want to spend on a marketing campaign. Cause I like your like segmentation, but then it's like, what's next? Do you do like a targeted sales campaign? Do you run ads? Like, how do you go after these people and how much do you spend to make sure that you're not just like dumping cash without a return? So that's where somebody that's like better at marketing could help you. So.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for that. There is no shortage of where you can throw money for marketing. So I'm open to suggestions. Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey, how are you?
Me too.
Thank you very much. It was great to hear your pitch.
Thank you.
So I'm John Bell. I'm president of NextEnd Digital, which is a digital consultancy based here in Albuquerque that helps businesses build digital marketing capabilities. But I'm also a board member at Presbyterian Health Plan.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not speaking as that on their behalf today,
Sure.
but I'm curious about your service. I guess I'm most curious about your business model. I can certainly I guess what I'm asking is, are you trying to have a capability that people are subscribing to over a period of time, or are you trying to navigate an acute problem that is very complicated? And how do you sell your service?
Yeah. Thank you very much. So I'll tackle the first portion of that, which I believe is the business model question. I want to offer something very similar to all different types of people. I work with people, the only difference is length of time that I'll work with people. So if someone has more of an ongoing health need, I would work with them for a year or 6 months. So I'd have a standard agreement for a year or 6 months. For someone who has more of an acute need, I would work with them for 3 months. So I have those 3 options. After that, it just becomes month to month, but you can cancel it up to 15 days, just let me know. And yeah, so I'm currently working that way. When it comes to expanding, I would like to eventually make this multi-state. I have a cap of the amount of clients I can take on personally before I need to begin hiring people. And I know, and that's a whole other, but I'll present a different time begging for help on hiring people probably from you guys. But so I work with individuals that way. I also work directly with the patient. So there's things like, for example, case managers or healthcare navigators. Those a lot of times can work for insurance companies or actually for the hospital about one specific issue. My goal is to just work with that patient and kind of be like their mom. You know how when your mom did all your appointments for you growing up and they got mad at you and you didn't go to those appointments? I'm just the adult version of your mom.
Quick follow-up question. The biggest problem right now in navigating healthcare here, which is common to other places as well, is access to care, which essentially is there aren't enough providers.
Yes.
So whether I'm calling or you're calling,
Yes.
you're still going to run into these issues of trying to schedule a specialist and finding that it's, a 6-month lead time.
Yes.
Now, you can't magically overcome that. So is your value proposition more about kind of navigating the complexity, sitting on the phone trees, et cetera, and so forth? Or is there some other value prop that I'm not hearing yet?
So what I would do is essentially that there is no software that I use that can see into all of the different charts and schedules. What I do is I call it like a bulldog velvet brick approach, where I will call multiple times a day until I connect with someone, but then also make sure that my number is there for cancellations. Because a lot of times they'll say cancellations are going to be on my chart. People don't check that every day for their cancellations. So it is just a forceful approach that I use right now. It's not the funnest thing in the world, but it has worked tremendously. And there's even times where I could not get this woman to call me back for someone's appointment I was trying to schedule. I probably left her 6 voicemails. And then I just went, all right, we're going to become internet stalkers. I found her on LinkedIn, connected with her, messaged her, and then she called me back that afternoon and got the appointment scheduled. So I think those individuals thinking about the people that are actually getting those calls for the appointments, they're probably swamped. They probably have so many voicemails to return. And it's unfortunate to say that you need to stand out sometimes to get heard.
Velvet bulldog brick. Velvet brick bulldog.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Good morning, Larry. I loved your presentation. I'm Dr. Norm. Excuse me. My company is Brain Health with Dr. Norm. I'm in the dementia prevention business and educate people on how to overcome the obstacles and the risks about dementia. I wanted to, first of all, compliment you on your presentation. It was short and sweet, to the point. I really liked your graphics, and you just got right in there. We know exactly what you do. Good stories and all that. I have a subgroup that you might have already thought about within the 3 groups. The subgroups are people with a hearing loss. They cannot hear on the phone, or if they can, it's like, what? Say it again. Would you speak up a little louder, please? I can't hear. That is an entire group of people that you could track inside of those subgroups, the 3 groups that you have.
Yeah.
Because they, and I know I'm speaking from experience, because I've been deaf for 50 years, and there was many years when I had to, hey, Barbara, would you call this doctor for me or whatever? And I can do it now myself, but that group could really use your services if you can connect with them somehow. So that's the key there. But it's a subgroup that is big, because in the 65 plus, 30% of those people have a hearing impairment. 30%. And the VA has a lot of people with a hearing loss too, because of their military experience. And the independent living, what's your 3rd group?
Assisted living.
Yeah, assisted living. So that all those people have a big hearing loss. So if you can say to them somehow, if you have a hearing loss, you're probably having difficulty on the phone with the doctor's appointments and all that. I can help you.
It's funny you asked that. I had 2 women I spoke with this week who were visually impaired, who are older, and were having trouble even utilizing, like finding the numbers. And so I'm kind of realizing that I'm going to need to figure out a way to accommodate people who have some sensory loss in order to really make an impact on this group. So it sounds silly, but this is literally why I'm here, because this is, people bring up good points. I was thinking about the eyes. I've never dealt with hearing loss. So it's good to get that perspective. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the hard of hearing, not the sign language deaf people, because you'll have to learn sign language to deal with them.
I don't know that yet.
But if you get into that group there, they're going to spread the word. Hey, here's somebody that can help out. I can't hear, but she can help out. So
Yes.
good luck on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Erin McQuaid, right? My business is Vitalist Coaching. I help people regulate their nervous system on the inside so they can step into what they want to create on the outside. And interesting that Dr. Norm brought up that challenge, which brought up your question about working with people with visual impairments. So my former career before I was a coach was in fundraising. And one of the organizations that I raised money for in Louisiana was Lighthouse for the Blind, and they exist around the country in different locations. One of the cool things about those, I don't know if there's one here in New Mexico, but there's a retail store component, and there are tools there, and people can go into the home covered by insurance to help set up like a coffee station. So there's contrast, it's a black coffee machine on a white mat, so it's easier to see. Tools like lighting, things like that, that you wouldn't need to figure out yourself. You might be able to partner with or recommend an organization that does that. So that's something to keep in mind. I really like your thinking about the retirement centers and independent living facilities. And I want to bring in another fundraising idea that might be helpful to you as you look to break into that community. There's an adage in fundraising that goes like this: ask someone for money and you'll get advice. Ask someone for advice and you'll get money. People love to be asked for their advice. And if you're breaking into a new group, I'd like you to consider an advisory board of people who are inside of the facility and know the ins and outs and are influencers. So my mom recently joined a retirement facility. She's in the independent living. She has her own apartment, but she quickly learned that there are people who are perfectly happy to just do the same thing every day, kind of do their routine and not really engage much. And that's not my mom. She is giving tours to people. She's sitting on a board of an organization that wants to have a partnership with the facility. She is a super connector. And I picture you having a kitchen cabinet of these individuals to advise you about, here are our pain points. Here's what our kids would need to okay this. And as you build that know, like, trust factor with the facilities themselves, I would think that there are people that the facility can advise you on. Who are the people who are giving the tours? Who are the people who are ambassadors to the community? And ask those people if they would like to be in a position to give you advice. Get them a coffee, have a round table that meets at a convenient location, and ask their advice about what their needs might be. So that's my suggestion. If you ask for advice, you'll get money.
Need advice, everyone? Yes, that was fantastic. And so my grandma is in an assisted living facility, and like literally I'll call her and she will say, she'll talk to me for 2 minutes and be like, well, I'm busy. I have to let you go. It's like, I've talked to you for maybe 5 minutes for the past year, because she's always busy. But those are the people. So it's fantastic. I did not think about that, but those are sort of the influencers of the entire group. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Morning. Well, Clifton Chadwick, Comunicaciones Cocopelli. So I've only got enough things to fit on my hand. Fight, flight, freeze, response. You know, you really, I mean, fight, flight, freeze, response. Oh my God, your life is threatened if you can't get your medicine. So I think that point was really important for you to make, and I'm sure that again, then you working cooperatively has helped speed things up. And I think once you've made contact with people, your approach probably helps you break through the clutter. Break through the clutter. So I think you need swag. As some people
Yeah.
have pointed out, I think there's some people that you can influence. And the right kind of swag is really important. And so, for example, in old folks' homes, if you could target some really likely prospects that are worth the investment, I'd put your label on blood cuffs, blood pressure monitor
Oh.
cuffs, that you can get for $25 or something like that. No, yeah, you will get in here. So anyway, something like that I think would be good. The other thing is, I really suggest for your group postcards, of these different groups, postcards. Nowadays, man, the internet is, do not know how to break through the clutter on the internet. It's just too crazy. You can use that, but I just really think postcards. And then one of the reasons that I think you could be particularly adept with postcards is, does this woman look like Juliana Margulies to anybody but me? Carol Hathaway from ER. Anybody remember Carol? I really think that you should make yourself up and take a professional picture where you look a little bit like Carol Hathaway, maybe with a scrub thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that might be going a little too far because that's not where you want to portray. Honest to God, because I like breaking through the clutter with a little wackadoodle, I would put underneath there, no, I'm not a nurse, but I look like a person who plays one on TV.
That's funny. That's very good.
And then, so that kind of a postcard, that kind of lightness. And also, I think people would look at that postcard and go, oh my God, Juliana Margulies, Carol Hathaway. Oh, and then they'd read it. And so that would help get your message through. I think I'm done.
Thank you so much.
Clifton Chadwick, Comunicaciones Cocopele, aquí para servirle.
Hey there, great presentation. I'm Danielle with Conscious Crossroads End of Life Services. I'm an end of life guide and death doula. And I'm now the executive director of a brand new nonprofit, the New Mexico Death Care Network. And I think you would be an awesome member for that group. We have a website where all the members are listed, but people dealing with end of life care especially, and those families are incredibly overwhelmed. And your services would be ideal. So I think that that's a perfect additional group for you to target if you could. And we can talk more about that. I'd also like to introduce you to a gentleman named Gray Nishio. He's a veteran. He's very involved in veterans care and does Medicare plans. So perfect person to talk to. I've already got the email started to draft to you guys. Yeah. And personal note, I have had lots and lots of medical issues, lots of surgeries and whatnot. Actually was just in the emergency room last week myself. Need to get back to a specialist that I see, and I still can't get in until November. I do this all the time for other people. And when I was on the phone, I was in tears. I couldn't regulate my nervous system. I was losing it. I am a customer, hands down. So when we're talking about value proposition, my voice is getting shaky just thinking about it because I'm living on bananas and saltines right now until November, until I can see someone. So thank you for what you're doing.
Happy to help you. Yes, seriously. Thank you very much for the connections too.
Hi, I'm Paul Sutter with Equity. We had some really good conversations. And one of the things that we talked about that you also heard in the Q&A is putting together a stable of people that know stuff at a deeper level than you do. And my personal experience with the healthcare system is if my sister were not a physician, my mother would have died maybe 5 years sooner. So if you don't have a knowledgeable, aggressive advocate for you in the healthcare system, they're going to use the defaults and you're not going to get the care that you need. So do you know someone who can serve in that capacity? Do you think you can do that for some people and advocate for them when they say, like, what do you expect? You're in your 90s. We're not going to do X, Y, or Z for you, even though it would be called for. Do you have someone you can lean on for that? Or can you do some of that yourself?
Are you asking for, like if I have a network of people I can connect others to?
Yeah,
or...
that you can connect your clients to for being a patient advocate.
Yes, so that's something I've been really proactive in doing is trying to expand my network of people who work parallel to me. For example, I will call insurance to try to pinpoint the cost of the appointment prior to going. Obviously, it can change depending on how they code it, but I tried to understand that prior. But for example, I don't specialize in fighting healthcare bills. I have someone who I work with very closely, and that is her bread and butter. She's been doing it for like 40 years. So what I can do is I might not be able to be the source for everything, but I can make sure that if I'm not able to do it, I'm gonna know someone who is gonna be able to better serve you, because ultimately this is your healthcare, everybody's different, and I might be able to help one portion of a problem that a person has really well, but if I know someone else is gonna be able to solve it way better than me, if I lose a couple bucks, so be it at this point, because it's word of mouth and reviews that are the lifeblood of a small business, so.
Well, great. And I think today you can see your network of potential collaborators is expanding, and people that work in parallel with you are already here. So, we have another question. Come on up.
That made me think of someone. Hi, I'm Erin from Fraser Financial Spirit Centered Bookkeeping. Do you know Carmen Meyer, the trusted nurse?
Gosh, that sounds familiar. I don't know.
Oh, I can connect you guys. She helps people navigate. She was a nurse, worked for the insurance company. She navigates it through the legal system for them, but definitely people who are trying to fight the medical system, right?
Sure.
So I don't know if that would be a good connection. for
Sure,
you.
I would be very open to a conversation. Okay, yes, thank you so much. Yes, appreciate that.
So with that, I get to ask the official 1 Million Cups question, which is, what can this community do for you?
I feel like you guys have done already a lot for me, just by me showing up to these meetings. My biggest issue right now is obscurity. And a lot of people I don't think realize that this is something that they can utilize for themselves. You can send your laundry out to get washed. You can send your healthcare laundry out too, and I can try to take care of it. Any advice on how to break out of obscurity in a way that's not going to just kill me financially? I would love to have any feedback y'all have, would be very helpful to me.
And finally, the New Mexico official state question, red or green?
Typically I go green, but it's whatever is hotter. Whatever is hotter.
Thank you. Let's thank her again.